My father used to say, "Watch this man."
He's been cited by IGN, The Quartering, Timcast, The Daily Wire, Bounding Into Comics, and even Dr. Jordan B. Peterson.
Disney insider WDW Pro recently speculated on.
Time and time again, he's broken big entertainment news live on the air.
I've been following WDW Pro and his track record for years. If you want to find out what's on the horizon for theme parks, Pro is where you go.
Morty, let's check in on Rian Johnson's new trilogy.
Okay. I bypassed the compressor.
What did you do, Ray? Son of a... That's gonna leave a mark.
Now, he was okay, after 6-7 weeks. Okay? They get over it. Kids are resilient like that.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's the standard, what would George do?
I don't want you here.
So sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Blimey, you fools.
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
Weird. Stay away from liquor, kids.
I have always liked Cowabunga.
Cowabunga!
Now that's more like it, Mr. Wayne.
It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
The Force will be with you. Always.
That's how winning is done.
I am vengeance. I am the night.
That's what she said.
I am Batman.
If I won tonight, I would come home and we'd celebrate. Well, I'm coming home, we're celebrating. God bless you all.
Watch your habits, for they become your character. And watch your character, for it becomes your destiny. What we think, we become.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just 2 minutes, the lighting at the Magic Kingdom will dim for the performance of the Pro Show. We hope you enjoy and have a magical, truthful time. For the safety of others, please, no flash photography. Hello and welcome to Provision 3D.
Alright, everyone, put on your coffee glasses. Oh boy,
Keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
You know that you've been taught the golden rule, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
Yes, Paul.
Autobots, roll out.
I'm bringing the party to you.
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money?
Fortune and glory, kid. Fortune and glory.
We're gonna do it!
All right, it's time to go to school, son. Come on, get your hands up, man.
Are you okay?
They'll never take Oh, freedom!
From the redwoods of California to the hills of Tennessee to the Rockies in the Sunshine State and Maine with that bright and shining sea. From coast to coast in North America, it's time for your host with the most, bringing you all the entertainment news that should be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the WDW Pro Show! Hello, howdy, and how are you, everybody out there? Culture's face, I think, says it all. Marvin, your face is frozen and mine's behind pixelation.
I just I'm like rethinking my career choices right now. I'm wondering if
everybody regrets being in the show right now.
Like maybe Target's hiring. I can go check. I don't know.
Oh, folks, we watched something. Guys, did you enjoy the glorified escape room that was the Sunnyside Beach Home and who knows where? That
you know what's funny is I actually this past weekend did an escape room for the first time ever in my life. And so now I felt like it prepared me for what I was about to witness. Like at the end when the oven opens up, and I was like, "Oh my god!" It like legitimately is an escape room. No, Pro, I did not enjoy it. As a matter of fact,
who knew that the witches? What is it? The Witches Road. The Witches Road was an escape room. Just an escape room. We'll get into it all, folks. But as you can tell, not necessarily a great episode. Maybe some of our additional panelists who are just now finishing the episode and will be joining us soon will have something more to say. But we want to say to all of you out there, welcome back to watching us in Agony with Agatha. We're happy to be here. Glad you're here. And we'll have some good laughs. No doubt about it. Before we get into those laughs, though, and as we have time before the rest of our panelists finish, by the way, the episode a little bit longer than I was anticipating, which is why we ran about 2 minutes over. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen. But let's go ahead and bring those super chats, and we'll get those right off the get-go of the show. Here we go. Photon Empress has finally become a YouTube member. I bet, Photon Empress, that you've actually become a higher level member of the channel. So we're happy to have you. Thank you so much. What an awesome supporter of the channel. The mom for 199, power to the 199, after canceling Disney Plus, had a few dollars hit the like button. Well, thank you, Mom. Appreciate it. And yes, Disney Plus right now, $1.99. They're practically giving it away. $2. And after watching what we watched, guys, I'm not shocked they have to drop the price to that level. Ken Tobias for $9.99 says to Acolyte, to spend the maximum amount of expenditure and receive the lowest amount of viewership. Guys, that was amazing. Jonas J. Campbell, all credit goes to him and his investigative reporting. He got the tax documents late last night, made it exclusive on thatparkplace.com. I did the coverage this morning. Valiant Renegade did as well. Turns out that the Acolyte, for those of you who have not yet seen this exclusive reporting, the Acolyte cost about $1.4 million per minute. It blew past what had been reported, excuse me, had blown past what was reported for its total budget. We had been told $180 million. Actually, it's in excess of $250 million. And that's really something. Culture, were you shocked by that one when you found out?
Yeah, actually, and we visited upon it last night for that Park Place, and then I visited upon it this afternoon as well. And 28 million plus per episode, Pro.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah,
it's just...
I here I am. I'm going to go out on a limb, Pro. You ready for this?
Oh no! Are you saying something about this show?
Well, I will, but first I'll say this: I don't think we're done counting pennies on the Acolyte.
I agree, and it was funny last night. Jonas called me on the Pro phone and said, "Hey, I found out something about the Acolyte that we have to report on immediately." There was some debate whether we should just go live. It was that big of a deal. Decided not to because it was so late. But I said, Jonas, who has given this to you? And there was a pause, and he said, me. So Jonas did a heck of a job. He actually was pouring through tax documents, and as soon as those tax documents hit, Jonas J. Campbell had them. And as soon as we talk about him and praise and brag on him, well, he shows up. Jonas,
what's up?
You weren't supposed to get to hear us say good things about you.
I didn't hear. I heard the tail end of it. I just heard Jonas had them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the tail end of it. We're good with that.
All right.
Thank you, Ken Tobias, for sending that in. John Maynard, member for 12 months. I'm ready for the fun to begin. The after party is far more exciting than the Disney Plus shows are. Well, after tonight, I struggle to find how we could be more boring than they were. So we'll see. We are not going to, by the way, dogpile upon them. We'll give our real review of it in just a moment. The Mom has become a YouTube member, and happy to have you as well. And Master of Puppets says, looking forward to this. Member for 2 months. Well, Master of Puppets, we're looking forward to you having a 3-month membership in the future. Thank you for joining us for 2. It's an honor to have you aboard. And Jack Straw from Wichita for 2. Agatha, all along. Yes, indeed. All right. Well, panel, it's time to dive into what we just had to suffer through. As we said, it was a glorified escape room. Let me give the, as best I can, the recap, and we'll be joined by more panelists. I know that Ron is coming and Lorn Connor as well. Guys, you correct me if I get the recap wrong. This won't be a hard one at all. The witches suddenly see a glowing beach home, about 5,000 square foot beach home estate, and they are drawn to it. It is not well done. It looks like some sort of AI art with lots of light bulbs to make it appear like it's glowing. They arrive on the porch of this house, which we're not really sure why they wanted to go to the house anyway, but they do. And when they get to the porch, for some reason it's night again. So, well, there's that. They go through the house, and it's back to being whatever that is, dusk, giant, glowy sun in the horizon kind of thing. And once they're in the house, they essentially realize that they're in some sort of strange escape room that's being run by some sort of entity that we don't know about. And if they complete these tasks that they're given in the escape room, then they will get to continue on their journey, of which we have no idea why we should care about the journey, because we don't know what's at the end of the journey, and we don't care about any of these characters because we haven't had any time with them to understand why they matter. Am I doing okay so far, guys? Anything wrong with that one?
I'd say it's right, except for the fact that all of the dialogue sound like it's being read by people who are not in the same room, despite the fact that they are all very visibly in the same room.
There are very awkward moments written into the script where they walk 2 feet away from the rest of the group and they carry on a conversation that the rest of the group would hear, but it's as if the rest of the group doesn't hear it. It's very, very strange. This had the feeling to me of Modern Family. Is that a good comparison to what this was like?
I feel like they had tried to pull off that to some extent. But honestly, the dialogue, not only was it, obviously would have been awkward had, they all been in the same room, which they were, but it was once again, very stilted. And I really don't feel anybody's terribly involved in their character except for maybe Catherine Hahn. There were moments
it's kind of strange to me, Culture, because it feels like we're watching a high school play.
Yeah.
And I know that these people have to be more talented than high school thespians.
Yeah.
I would hope that their talent is above the level they're displaying here.
I mean, we're talking we're talking extreme overacting at times, and then completely, disconnected from the words they're speaking. And Marvin sighed, which means he has something profound to say.
No, I mean, look, last week I think everybody was saying this is a show made for, wine-soaked rich ladies who, who spent their day going to Tupperware parties or whatever. And I didn't really think that it was that much like that, but this was that. I mean, between the wine and the essential oils and the skincare jokes and the upholstery and just everything about this was Jack Schaefer writing a show for herself to watch.
Yeah, it really is. And what's funny is I didn't believe any of this. My suspension of disbelief, and I know that on a show like this, you never really lose that suspension of disbelief. But the first line that I thought that was given with any reality and truth to it was when they made the explanation of what a sous vide is. That was at that moment, 25 minutes into the third episode, I finally feel like people stopped acting and started like actually being in the show. It was very strange that. So
it was this was also the week where they decided we're going to show how funny we are, guys. We need to show that women are funny.
That didn't go well then.
It was the every joke bombed. Every joke. Every joke. There were attempts at jokes. There were so many attempts at jokes.
There was
I
jokes
never thought
about the skincare line. That didn't go over.
No, it didn't land because you would have had to have been paying very close attention in the second episode to catch on that was her brand.
That Hansel and Gretel joke at the end.
Yeah,
the oven thing.
I like that one. That was
dog.
Yeah, and then they go into the oven, which there's some offhand line where she says it looks like it's one of my client's house, and then you see her product there. And that is the only reason that I even understood what that joke was supposed to be. I don't know.
Okay, so at this point, I don't understand who. I mean, I can make guesses, but I don't understand who is in charge of the witch's trial. I don't get who is the dungeon master here. I have my thoughts on who it is, but I also don't care who it is because this isn't interesting to me.
They want you to think it's Mephisto. They name drop Mephisto
again.
in there.
I could not begin. The only Marvel thing to happen in the entire thing was they name drop Mephisto.
Well, there was some indication that they're trying to play a mystery box with the kid, and they literally have someone call him Teen, as if that's what you call a teenage boy who happens.
She was calling him that last week too.
Yeah,
weird, very strange.
Weird. Well, they can't say his name. He can't say his name because he's got a sigil on him. You know. And look, she says this looks like this looks like someplace my clients would be, and then they're all dressed like her clients, and then this was her mystery. This was her escape room. Each of them are going to have an escape room.
So they then culture. Yeah. They have to drink wine. We don't know why they have to drink the wine, but they have to drink the wine. We don't know what will happen if they don't drink the wine. They all choose to drink the wine. And the wine makes them look as if they've been injected with Botox to extremes. That's supposed to be funny. It's really not.
They all look like Madonna.
Right. They look like Madonna. And then, but immediately they know exactly which poison they have just imbibed. And they know exactly how to fix the problem. And so they all go off, despite the fact that the kitchen is right there and all the ingredients are in the kitchen. They all go off on these little adventures inside this house, which is not big enough to have adventures. It's a game of Clue as they go to find the mystery items to bring back to put into the sink. We'll get to that in just a moment. So they go off and they try to find these items. And as they go off to find the items, they have disjointed hallucinations where for some of them it seems to be attached to their childhood in some way or some traumatic event, although we don't know these people, so we have no way of attaching to that. For others, it's just creepy people. So for the darker skinned lady, there's a light-skinned, creepy man who puts her head in the sink, and that's
you have to think that's the one that's got to be the guy that bound her magic. So we're gonna have the white man took your agency from you.
Oh, thank you, Marvin. I hadn't thought of how horrible that could be. Yes, yep, you're probably right. Thanks, Marvin. So they may have edited that at some point and said, you know what, we're not going to go that far because of what's been going on lately here with Disney ratings going down. Not going to save them, but. After their hallucinations, they come back. They dump all of their special ingredients into the sink for no good reason. Just like we're bringing in Ron E. Bradley, but you know what? We have a good reason to do that. That's because we like him. You like him. He's here now. Ron, we'll get your thoughts in just a minute. We're doing the recap. So they dump all their stuff into the sink. We get a sous vide joke, I guess. That's really bad.
It's just exposition. It's not even a joke.
Yeah.
They literally just throw it in there to say, yes, this is a kitchen gadget that you can use to do this thing. I feel like Jack Schaefer or whoever wrote that felt like they were very clever.
Oh,
but
yes.
It's very much it's a thing. It's a sign of affluence, I suppose, even though you don't have to be that rich to buy one.
It's just yet another thing to dangle the keys in front of the intended audience for this of the wine moms. of, here's your wine and your essential oils and your sous vide, and oh my goodness, like it's just I was
So
just
they
like,
put all
who
their
is this?
They put all their ingredients into the sink, and the sink becomes a jacuzzi with all of the light displays that you would hope with your garish jacuzzi. And they stir it, and then they realize that they are missing one ingredient that they could have known all along, but they just realized at the end for plot because they need something to create tension. So boom, and they immediately know what the answer is. They don't have to think about it. It's immediately obvious to them, and that is they need Teen, the underage fellow, to have his self cut, and they need his blood. And of course, he is willing to do so without any drama, because the drama was that they didn't know the ingredient for 2 seconds, then immediately knew it. Whereas with a good writing, he would have been hesitant to let them cut him and draw his blood. That would have been the obvious way to do this, but this is not an obvious show. So he does that, and we get sparkle magic inside the sink, and they drink the stuff from the sink, and they're all healed. Oh wait, but they forgot about their what would you say, the goofy one, and she's dying. So they go take her some magic sink water, get it in her mouth, and in the last second, they're all saved. Water then starts flooding the house, so they jump into the oven, and the oven takes them back to the Witch's Road. And that is a Marvel show description I never thought I would give. Ron, welcome to the show. Your thoughts on what we just encountered?
Man. Well, clearly I got trapped in the house. Yeah, I thought this background appropriate for the show. It was not. This just isn't made for the typical Marvel audience. This is made for a sliver, a very tiny sliver of. I'm like, if I wasn't being forced to watch this show, here's my own personal take. I would have started to watch this show, and probably would have been out after the first episode. I don't think I would have watched the second episode, because this has literally, it's again, the problem with WandaVision is WandaVision started out phenomenal, ended up mediocre, but not horrible. I mean, at that point in time, we had a big MCU drought, so we were all looking for something, right? And then you have 3 different spinoffs that have come from that. To the best of my knowledge, you have the Marvels and Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and this. And it's like with each one of those spinoffs, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. And it's like, it's kind of sad, really, because in Paul Bettany, if they would have followed the Vision's character first, and that White Vision or whatever the heck happened to him, boy, that would have been I think you would have had MCU fans in. But this is like, who the heck's this made for?
Well, what's really fascinating is they've counterbalanced this in an amazing way. The guy who wrote Picard season 3 and ran Picard season 3, which is one of the best things in Star Trek since like 2006. He is actually in charge of the Vision show. And that's been a recent development. So that one sounds like it might actually be amazing.
Terry Matalas is who we're talking about there.
Yeah, Terry Matalas.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm looking forward to that, but this is definitely agony all along.
Yeah.
This, I don't know really how to classify this one, because it's at least interesting, although unenjoyable. So at least there's some sort of weird thing going on here that had me watching it. And the colors were not so washed out that I couldn't see what was going on, because they're in this beach home. And yet, there's no reason for me to have enjoyed any of this, and none of the characters learned anything of value, and I didn't learn anything about any of the characters that has any value to me. And the effort to make there be a story behind Agatha just doesn't hit. I know who Teen is. It's as obvious as you can possibly get. Kocho, what do you think about the reveal that Agatha had a baby and she turned the baby over to the dark side for powers?
I honestly just don't care. I'm no longer invested in this Agatha character. I'm not. There's not one character in this show I'm invested in.
Why did they not
And-
spend at least one episode, Culture, letting us have some reason to care about these characters? There's literally no reason to care about any of them.
Well,
There's
I mean-
nothing that we know about them that matters.
In the end, they want you to care about a particular character, but I mean that's as pointless.
Do
as
they?
put
Do they?
Hank-
Because they make a
Hank-
joke immediately.
Well, Agatha makes a joke.
Yeah.
But no, I mean they don't. You don't get to appreciate that because you didn't get to appreciate the character in the first place. It did no development. So now I'm like, okay, one of the better actresses that are on this show is where?
Well, I think it's okay
and-
for us to use spoilers here. I mean, let's just talk about it.
Oh, okay. So Sharon, the character that's played by that '70s mom,
Deborah Jo Rupp. Yeah,
she's playing a doofus.
Yeah, she's no longer the doofus because she ain't no longer with them anymore. She climbed in she didn't climb in the oven. She was carried through the oven. She must not have got the magic blood of Wiccan.
You think she's really gone, or you think it's
Well,
you think it's
they
fake?
didn't.
No way.
They didn't put her hair in the potion, so I would assume it didn't work on her.
Yeah. Well, I also would assume that we're about to get what's her name back. The only reason that I even considered watching this show. Audrey Plaza, yeah.
Female Mephisto.
Yeah.
Well, she's supposed to be their last one because in the first episode she had that really hacky line about I have a heart, but it's black, and then Patti LuPone said that the last name that she wrote in there was a black heart as what was supposed to be her their last witch. So it's supposed to be Aubrey Plaza.
Well, we're gonna end up. Like I said, we're going to end up with an escape room for each one of these people.
Oh no!
And
I can't listen. If we've agreed to watch bad escape rooms, episode after episode, that's gonna be tough.
Culture's right though. I've heard that from several sources.
So I'm already disinterested in this concept because this one was so poorly executed, right? And the ticking clock didn't even have to be anything other than the urgency for which to solve for poison. And I get it. It's a mechanism to move everything forward in an expedient manner. But as I was following it, I was just like,
okay. Here's some questions. I'm going to ask the panel some questions, basic questions that any show with any kind of writing ability behind it would be able to answer, and the audience would know immediately so that we can care. Okay. So question number 1, why are we at the Witch's Road? What are we doing?
They want power. Agatha wants power, right? That's the whole thing.
The Asian
Why are the other
witch
witches
wants
there?
to know. She wants to know what happened to her mom. The other one wants to be unbound.
Right, exactly. Pro, were you not paying attention when she went through one by one and said everyone's character motivation?
Just hang with me for a moment.
That's good writing right there, where you clearly spell out everyone's character motivations.
but I feel
Everyone
like-
says them out loud, and that's how you know it's a good show because you know exactly what everybody wants.
But here's the weird thing, Jonas. It's like they believe that most people skip the first 2 episodes to get to this one because it was mentioned during the recruiting era of the
Why
show.
would they do that? Why would anyone do that?
Okay, but hold on, guys.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Just a couple simple questions that would help me understand this show. Who is in charge of the Witch's Road? Like, where does the power come from that does this thing? Like, who's behind it? Who's the dungeon master? Like, what is this?
Sif Todd.
Yes.
Central Florida Tourism Oversight District for Witches.
Central Westview.
Mephisto? I don't know.
Like, there's got to be something, there's just this disembodied realm that witches go through that have, there's no mind linked to it, and yet it produces for us these trials. Like, what is this?
And
what
it's got
is
a
this
water
we're
slide
watching?
in it.
I'm assuming
well-
this is not at all related to comics or anything.
Within lore, the goddess of witchcraft is in charge of the Witch's Road, at least
Okay.
in Marvel Comics.
Who's that? Who's that, Culture?
I can't answer that question because I
She
had
in
to
the
look
show,
it up.
Culture. Do we have
No. Well, the goddess of witchcraft is accompanied by chaos. So who is
Okay, I
who
saw
is-
that.
Who's
Chaos a celestial?
Well, no, I don't know, but I know chaos is the kind of magic that Guess who has it?
Scarlet Witch.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Scarlet Witch.
No, sir. Chaos magic is Shadow the Hedgehog.
All
How
right.
dare you?
It's Scarlet Witch.
Speaking of which, they just started releasing Sonic and Shadow anime on the Sonic YouTube channel, and that's way better than this.
All right. So we lost the only comedy we had.
Bad comedy though. I didn't think I could ever not think she was funny.
Deborah Jo Rupp? Yeah.
Yeah, the material they were giving her was hack.
There was
bury me in this kitchen.
Dude, she lost her purse at the beginning of the freaking episode. I'm like, it's like, hey lady, that's like quicksand. So like if your purse is a goner, don't you also volunteer to become a goner?
Well, the other problem was she apparently doesn't have powers. That'll probably change by the end of the series, but she seemingly had no powers. She seemingly didn't understand where she was. She thought she was just going to suburban party, and she wasn't reacting like someone who has no powers and who has been brought into a suburban party. So she was basically just there for chuckles, but they're like inside joke chuckles. And the problem is that you can't have inside joke chuckles if nobody's having a good time in the first place.
It seemed to me that they were like, we need comedy in this show because it's Marvel and Marvel's got to be funny. Oh, let's put the mom from that 70s show in here. She's funny. And then they didn't write anything funny for her.
Yeah. Okay. So guys, I think we can go ahead and give this thing a score. And when Lorn shows up, we'll let him give a score as well. By the way, he's watched the first 2 episodes as well. So he's really went through some serious suffering. Let's go around now. I'll get the calculator ready to go, and we'll get our numerical scores ready. Jonas, before we do all that though, how about we go through some super chats, sir?
Sure, yeah. Let's see here. Kenneth LaRoque, member for 12. Hey all. Well, hey to you, Kenneth LaRoque.
Well, hello.
Liberty Hall's cat for $2. Thank you for y'all's sacrifice. Well, speaking of which, you are a cat. So
I felt like this episode was a high school play with $20 million behind it.
Wow.
A very expensive budget. Yeah. Go and Shogi for $10. I have to say, wine moms aren't doing sous vide. It takes long stretches of time and effort. The expensive restaurants they eat at do it. They heard about it and think it makes them smart. Also, sous vide is the process, and they didn't put anything in a plastic bag. Such a bizarre cooking method.
I don't think they would actually use the sous vide, but they would buy the sous vide little machine so that all their friends who come over would be like, oh, look, they do sous vide.
Yes, well, in the sink. All right, let's start with culture. Go ahead, Marvin.
No, I was going to say, I heard about sous vide when my dad told me that they went to my aunt and uncle's house, and he was like, yeah, your uncle boiled a steak. I was like, what? So that was how I learned what sous vide is.
By the way, boiled steak is not the way to go, ever. Ever, never. Maybe for creme fraiche. All right, here we go. Culture. That's a South Park reference. Culture, go ahead. Your numerical score, 0 to 10. How's episode 3 stand?
So far, this is the best episode. I think this is the best episode so far. It gets a 2.
2. Ron, 0 out of 10. What say you?
Oh, I give it a 4. It was passable background watching.
I'm going to give it a 3. As I said, I can actually see this episode, and that's where the bar is. I could see this episode because there's light in it, and
lighting.
There was no awkward buttocks for 0 reason in here. So hey, yay, no buttocks. Marvin.
They did not break into song, so I will give it a 3.
And I was really worried. There were points where I was worried we were getting another song, and I thought, please, nobody has told me. None of my contacts have told me this is a musical. I don't have to suffer through that until Mufasa. Please no. Yes, folks, Mufasa will be a musical. All right,
I predict a musical number in the next episode.
Oh no, okay. Jonas.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this one. I think I gave last week's a 4. So this one at the end, there was some brief sign that there might have been a show here. So I'm gonna give this a 5.5.
How?
Oh my God.
I thought you were going to be like, I want to give it a 5, but 4.5. You went to 5.5.
5.5.
Well, I started thinking about the fact that the horrible
That's better than
lightsaber
average,
episode.
Jonas. 5 is in the middle. 5's an average.
Oh, if we're grading
Are
on
you
Marvel
grading this
television
like you're back in high school? 7's passing?
50%. That's what I'm giving this. I'm giving this a 50%.
You gave it a 50.5. Okay, anyway. It's too late now to take it back. So average score for the episode 3, folks, 3.5 out of 10. This is a 3.5 out of 10, which just about doubles both of the first 2 episodes, but no one is going to be watching this.
They were dressed better.
3.5.
They were dressed better this episode.
Well, some of them were dressed. That's a plus.
Has anybody checked for life signs on Lorn?
I think we should check, folks. Let's see if Lorn has survived his experience, and we'll find out. We'll do the door, but you know who's behind the door.
Who could that be? Let's go see, boys and girls.
All right, Lorn Connor is with us now, and Lorn, you can help save poor Agatha. Right now, it has a 3.5, but we're gonna bring you back in to see if you can change the score. And Lorn, you get a privilege none other has had. Since you've come in just in the nick of time, share with us your thoughts on episodes 1, 2, and 3. The folks out there are pleased to know that you have finally watched all of this. Tell us what your thoughts are going into it, and are we being perhaps too harsh?
It's kind of hard for me to say because you guys had prepped me for something that was truly execrable, and I'm just bored. I don't think that it's enough to make me feel like this is the worst thing ever. It's just I'm constantly looking at the clock, wondering, is this over yet? Do I have to keep doing this? I think what I would say is I thought the first episode was really, really bad. I really did not like the first episode at all. A lot of that I attribute to the fact that you had Catherine Hahn trying to do a Harvey Bullock impression. And it came off as just the most off-putting performance that I think I could ever imagine. I hated episode 1. But episode 2, I actually thought was quite a bit better. And I'm actually going to disagree with you on the musical number. I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. And in fact, if I had to point out anything positive about the show, I think that it's well shot. I think that it has fine cinematography, and I like the music. Everything else is just boring.
Wait a minute. Hold on, Lorn. Hold on. You like the music?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the score is actually not terribly bad.
The song, Lorn.
I didn't have a problem with the song. I thought compared to what little I've seen of the Acolyte Witches chant, it seemed to me like that was a far better musical performance than what you saw there. Yeah, you guys had prepared me for this.
I will actually back Lorn up. I don't like the scene where they do the musical number. I think that's terrible and out of place and just cringy. But the song itself, I'm like, yeah, nothing wrong with the song. I think it's kind of fine.
Yeah, and if you compare it to, say, other Disney musical numbers, say, in the animated features, it's not that far apart from it. So I didn't see it as being that big of a detraction considering what the show is and where it's coming from. The cardinal sin of the show is it's boring. I don't care about any of these characters, and everything that's going to be a plot point is so far telegraphed in advance that there's nothing really to generate any kind of narrative tension. It's
a show made for dummies. Is that fair, Lorn?
Yeah, it's just boring. It's very hard to keep your attention on the screen. I actually keep looking for other things to occupy my attention so that I don't fall asleep.
Okay, so Lorn, from a standpoint of someone who maybe they're watching and they want to know how to write a better script, what is it that makes you not care about these characters?
I don't feel anything in common with them. They are not human people. They are characters in a typical Marvel production. And so it's difficult to have empathy for characters that are a caricature.
They're caricatures.
Yeah. You have to have something that makes you human and relatable, and none of these characters are.
These are cartoons come to life.
Yep. That's it in a nutshell.
Lorn, for episodes 1 and 2, what would you have given the score?
Gosh, 1 I think would have to be a 1.
Now you're talking, Lorn. Now you're cooking with fire. Okay, episode 2.
One was awful. 1 was absolutely awful. 2, it was better. I guess I'd give it a 2. 3, I'd give maybe a 2.5. Maybe. I think I was more bored by episode 3 than I was.
Lorn. You talk a big game, and then you start throwing around numbers like we do.
Well, I think I'm not saying the show's good. I'm just saying that
Lord comes in and says, "You guys said this was miserable. I watched it. It's boring, but it's not awful. I give it a -27."
Well, again,
if you take Lorn's score and you double it, it's still not Jonas's score.
Well, I mean, honestly, I was prepared for something that was going to what you have told me about the Acolyte has me absolutely petrified.
Oh, you're
gonna.
I'm
prepared to be really, really angry about the Acolyte.
You know what? You know why you're going to hate the Acolyte?
You said this was worse, and so I was prepared for something really, really bad.
Episode 1 was worse, but episode 2 was a little bit better. Here's the thing, though, Lorn. The Acolyte got progressively worse the longer it went, but the reason that I think you're going to suffer with the Acolyte when you finally watch it for that charity stream we've been talking about is because you actually care about Star Wars and about the lore, and it's going to just rip it to shreds. You don't care about these characters, and neither do we, because not only do we not care about the characters, but nothing they're doing will have any impact on the MCU whatsoever. Zero, none, nada. And you can basically, even if you thought, Mephisto's going to show up and Mephisto's going to have this big thing to do with all this. No. There's the multiverse. So there's like 1 billion trillion Mephistos and 1 billion trillion Agathas, and none of it matters. Nobody cares. So there's nothing to attach to on this whatsoever. So that's why you'll hate the Acolyte way worse when you finally watch it. I think.
Now, can I point out 2 things that I actually did think were sort of clever about Agatha, and that I did kind of like? There were 2 things that got sort of a half chuckle. I think I kind of went, in episode, I think it was episode 1, when they have the body with the toe tag, and it's Wanda, and she's got the library card as the toe tag. Right. I thought that was kind of clever. That was kind of funny, and I thought that it showed that Elizabeth Olsen was very smart by staying as far away from this as she possibly could. The other thing that I thought,
you mean that wasn't her toes? I'm shocked.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought actually was kind of funny in this week's episode was when Jen, I think it is, they all go through the transformation when they get to the house, and she looks in the mirror and she says, "I look like one of my customers." I thought that was funny. That was actually some clever bit of writing. So,
I thought you were going to say when Mrs. Hart died, because that's when I went.
All right. Well, Lorn, you watched the 3rd episode. You're going to help us adjust the score. What did you give to episode 3 for its final numerical score? Remember, 0 is awful, 5 is average, 10 is absolute perfection.
3 is a difficult one for me to score because, in a way, I think it's a better episode than the first 2, but I was more bored by it. I liked episode 2 more than episode 3. So I guess, I don't know. We're going to keep it even. I'll say, am I really going to do that? We'll say 2.5. 2.5 for episode 3.
Double that score, and then add another half to it, and you've got Jonas's score.
Yeah, I feel
you guys need to get over it. You guys need to get over it. There's production value on the show.
I feel like
it is a miracle.
I gotta pull that down. I gotta fix it.
I feel like Jonas, you're like the West German judge.
What?
You are.
First of all, it's a miracle that they even got this on screen. There's something there for the people who put together the pretty good makeup on all these actresses to make them look like they had Botox or whatever. There's a lot here that is not necessarily the incredibly disjointed performances that these otherwise talented actresses.
What did the Botox matter, though? Like, It's just a
Yeah, it
stupid
was there
gag.
and
It has
gone.
no
It's
connection
a
with the
stupid,
story.
it's a stupid gag, but it doesn't mean the crew didn't do a good job.
No, but we're not judging this for the crew earning their paycheck. And I think that's the problem here, is that what you're judging this on is basic competence. You know, you need to judge this based on, is it telling a good story? And I think you can profoundly say, no, it's not. All it's doing is wasting our time.
Let me tell you, Lorn came in here all sweetsy. He came in rainbows and sunshine to take care of this thing. And he pulled out daggers fast. He pulled out daggers on Agatha. Look out.
I love
that's
how
our
everyone's
review
saying
score.
I'm channeling Chris Stuckman by giving it a 5.
Final
I have
review
a
score, folks.
question.
3.3 for episode 3. It's 3s all aboard. And yes, that's repeating for those of you who are Leroy Jenkins fans. Go ahead, Ron.
Well, it just seems like what they're doing is they're using a plot device of this escape room thing, and I've heard that too. That every episode is going to be an escape room, and it gives them the opportunity to change up the scenery, change up the clothes, change up everything. It seems like they're using that instead of character development for in other words, if we can't figure out a way to get the audience to care about these characters. So to keep the audience engaged, we're going to change everything every show and make the scenes different. And that's how they're trying to move the plot along. It just, for me personally, that's not the best way to tell a story. I feel like this is made for maybe an audience that grew up with Wizards of Waverly Place and now they're 10 years older. That's
a good point. Here's what I think they did, Ron. I think they sat down and said, how are we going to make the Agatha story? It's a spinoff of WandaVision. For WandaVision, every episode was set in a different sitcom. So what are we going to do here? And somebody said, oh, I know. She'll go to different escape rooms every episode and we'll change the style that way. So it'll be just like WandaVision. And then they said, well, we can't do that in the first 2 episodes. We're kind of stuck there. And they were like, oh, wait. The first episode will be a completely disjointed fever dream with no reason for it to exist. Bingo, we got it.
Well, it's I think one of the most interesting things that the show has introduced so far was actually the Salem 7. And when they started to appear and attack the house at the end of episode 2, I sort of started sitting up and taking notice and thinking, oh, maybe we're going to do something interesting here. And I'm sure they'll pop back up. But the problem with an episode like this week's is that you put them in this house, you give them all terrifying visions of the things that they are most afraid of. And I don't care. And I don't care because I don't care about the characters. Mm-hmm. If I had some kind of a tie to them, if I cared about how they felt, if I knew something about their background, which is what these scenes are for, it's to try and foreshadow and show you that they all have these dark, mysterious things in their past that you're really going to care about. But if I don't care about them now, then I don't care about the vision. It doesn't hit. It doesn't land.
They're stuck with something that they've because of the format. Lorn, they're stuck with this very short window to tell all these character stories, and they couldn't get into the show properly to begin with. They wasted 2 episodes as vehicles to get you somewhere into the show itself so you could be in these escape rooms for the next several episodes. And I think that, it's also borrowing, as Ron said, from the previous, devices utilized by WandaVision, bringing you into a different, style surroundings and having all these characters deal with whatever this is, even though it's only solely directed at one of these witches. So for this one, it was what did you say her name was? Jen? Yeah, that was her.
Which one is Jen?
She's the water witch.
Candle witch.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Hey,
alchemy, the potions.
I have a real fear that the Salem 7 are going to start hanging out with the Knights of Ren and never come back, just like they did.
Yeah, well, what's her name? Rio or Agatha? Not Agatha. See, this is the other problem. Aubrey Plaza, her
That's
character is Rio, and she's probably one of the Salem 7. It reminds me of when I was watching The Day After Tomorrow. Which back in the day, I always loved going to see a good, awful movie. In the middle of that, they're just walking through someplace, and then some wolves show up. Why do the wolves show up? I don't know. There's no motivation. They're not in a place where there would be wolves, but it's there. They're there basically to add a little tension until you can get to the next scene. That's what I saw when the Salem 7 showed up in episode.
Jack Schaefer should have watched a far superior show American Horror Story Coven.
Oh, such a good
You
show.
probably did, actually.
Well, it doesn't show. Okay,
Jonas?
I mean, it's just it. I look at better shows all the time. All this show had to do was mimic that instead of mimicking them all in little bits and doing it in an inferior way. I look. Shows need to inspire you to watch them. You know, it's one of the reasons why I have a hard and fast rule, and you guys have probably heard this before if you've followed my channel, but I will watch a show. I'll watch 3 episodes. You have 3 episodes to hook me on a show. I would never go back to this show because I don't care.
Well, I think it won't be on the Nielsen charts. I don't think it's going to show up on Nielsen.
No,
well, they didn't do their typical Marvel thing where they tout the numbers, after the first week.
I think that the only shot they have at the Nielsen at this point, maybe with the first 2 episodes, they can hit the 10th spot on a subcategory. But the only chance of really showing up on Nielsen in any way they could tout is the final. They're bundling 2 episodes there, and they might get people binge watching for Halloween who don't know better. That's it. Other than that, this is dead.
But where's the buzz? Okay, I mean, you
no
say
buzz.
that. Yeah, there's no hype. Nobody's even, and you know what? The stone cold defense they tried to put up didn't even work.
I'll
they
tell you.
tried to set up a shield wall behind the gayest show ever, and we just mocked it.
Yeah. So during the Acolyte, I would show all kinds of clips, that would be on X already, and people were reacting. I can't. There's nobody talking about it. I mean, I'll show you. This is the best we got. If I switch over to here, there's one person playing a clip of this thing, and this is it. Nobody's talking about this on X. Nobody's talking about this anywhere. So if nobody cares about it, I mean, we're having fun dissecting it here, and people are here to get our take on the state of Marvel. But in terms of people being here to find out, are we going to go check the Agatha after party with Pro and the gang because we're going to find out what happens to Agatha? And, is Mephisto going to show up? Nobody's here for that. We're all here for a post-mortem. It's a Marvel post-mortem. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Can I give a recommendation on something I enjoyed this week? Not about Agatha.
Please.
The Penguin on Max is excellent.
Marvin, just because you saw a critical drinker get those good numbers covering it, just because.
No, I finished watching the first episode today,
good.
And I thought it was really, really good. It was
a palate cleanser.
A television show set in a comic book universe that we've already seen, in a movie, and it just was good. Like I violated my rule because my rule was I will never again watch a Batman property that does not have Batman in it. But it's just a good, like, you forget that it's Batman because it's just a good mafia story. So.
Yeah, I think he's only even mentioned one time in that news clip, and then that's it.
Yep.
The rest of it is, it's you know what's great about it? It's very character focused, and you, unlike this show at all, you really care about Oz at the end of that first episode.
Every character they introduced, I felt something for. It was just well done.
Yeah.
Well, guys, if it's okay, we don't normally do this for the after parties, but I'd like to talk about something that's sort of breaking today. It's it's definitely off topic, but you guys are all gamers, I know. And if it's okay with you guys, let's talk about this for just a few minutes. And I think we'll get some really interesting commentary here. That is that Ubisoft, talk about a change of pace, but we'll talk about this. Ubisoft is trying to get away from woke as hard as they can. Now, Agatha is clearly still there, and Disney is still knee-deep or perhaps neck-deep in woke. Ubisoft wants out. This out of thatparkplace.com. It says Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot claims company's goal is not to push any specific agenda despite company's website saying otherwise. This by John F. Trent. The Ubisoft CEO claims that his company is not pushing any specific agenda despite the company's website saying otherwise. And of course, Star Wars Outlaws is straight in the middle of Ubisoft's problems. Their stock diving, crashing, and clashing with audiences. In a press release where Ubisoft revealed it was revising its expected Q2 net bookings down from 500 to 350 to 370 million euros due to poor sales from Star Wars Outlaws. Who could have seen that coming? along with announcing a delay for Assassin's Creed Shadows, Guillemot first revealed the company was going to launch a review of itself. He said, "In the light of recent challenges, we acknowledge the need for greater efficiency while delighting players. As a result, beyond the first important short-term actions that are taken, the Executive Committee, under the supervision of the Board of Directors, is launching a review aimed at further improving our execution, notably in this player-centric approach and accelerating our strategic path towards a higher-performing model to the benefit of our stakeholders and shareholders." Now, they have fought tooth and nail to go full-blown into DEI, and we all knew this was going to happen. Guys, we have watched this now for a decade. We watched what it did to Star Wars. We watched what it did to Disney Animation. We watched what it did to, everything. And we're in it now with Marvel. And the gaming industry decided they were to go full-blown into it as well. He concluded his remarks with this: "Finally, let me address some of the polarized comments around Ubisoft lately. I want to reaffirm that we are an entertainment-first company, creating games for the broadest possible audience. And our goal is not to push any specific agenda. We remain committed to creating games for fans and players that everyone can enjoy." However, Ubisoft's website makes clear it has a specific agenda. And here's what the statement is from Ubisoft. "Putting diversity and inclusion at the heart of everything we do means providing an environment where employees can thrive, building open-minded communities where players can connect, and creating games that reflect the diversity of the world we live in. We will not accomplish all these goals overnight, just as it takes years of iteration to develop a AAA title. We will only become a more diverse and inclusive company by continuously improving, trying new ideas, and learning from the results. It's a long-term commitment, one that we'll tackle with the same passion and dedication that we bring to our games." Now, I don't have any problem in the world with diversity. In fact, I encourage people to find out all kinds of individuals of all kinds of backgrounds and embrace the humanity that lies within us. But again, Ubisoft seems to not only have introduced quotas and ratios for how they're going to pick the people that are going to work for them, not meritocracy, but that seems to have infiltrated their portfolio of games greatly. Jonas, I'll start with you. Is this at all a shock? We just saw what happened with Concord. We just saw what happened with Dustborn, Star Wars Acolyte, and here we are with Star Wars Outlaws. Another one bites the dust. Your thoughts, Jonas?
Well, which aspect are we supposed to be shocked at here? The fact that they are engaging in what is essentially discrimination and therefore illegal in the United States. They're a French company, and this is I don't know what the Canadian laws are. I think the Canadian laws probably allow for a little bit of racism here and a little bit of sexism, as long as it favors people that aren't white or men, so. Yeah, looking at these titles and everything that has come out of Ubisoft lately, it's weird. I was watching Side Scrollers today for a little bit, and they pointed
Craig,
out,
you say?
Yeah. They pointed out the cast of characters that are pushing for like hip hop and a black samurai, and then they show the actual crew that's working on this, and it's all a bunch of white ladies.
Yeah, so often it is
just a sea of vanilla estrogen.
Culture. How much more can we possibly watch go down in flames from buying into this quasi-religious belief system that is woke before it's all over? Like, how much more of this are studios and companies going to sacrifice themselves for?
Yeah, it's almost immeasurable, Pro. It's funny because I grossly underestimated the number of video game studios that would fold this year. I set the number at 9, and more than that have already failed. Ubisoft is setting itself up to be in some severe trouble. I think Jonas and I have talked about the fact that, they could be forced into private ownership, which would force the 5 Guillemots out of control of the company by the minority of 30%. But there are many other studios that are just folding up and closing their doors, even within.
But all of this was predictable, Culture. We've predicted all of this, as you said. You predicted many studios closing. It's actually exceeding that.
Yeah.
And the mainstream media, the journalists, the drive-bys, the so-called game reporters, they're not going to come out and say, "Oh well, looks like our theories were wrong. Looks like woke is a bust."
Well,
they're going to pile on and be hateful towards the audience that won't watch or play what they deem they should.
But all of this was predicated on a faulty study from the very beginning, an onset that decided what the outcome would be before they did it. This McKinsey Group study that has been laughed at now by the financial industry, saying this doesn't work and you can't prove it ever worked. And why is anybody still listening to you? And again, it comes down to control and power. It's easier to control smaller entities and manipulate them with the promise of cheaper money. That's exactly how we ended up in this position in almost every industry now. But when it comes to entertainment, it's more obvious and easier to spot. And in the gaming industry, gamers are savvy. They right now they're seeing the effects that this kind of ideology has. I mean, nobody wants to play a game that basically went out of its way to uglify the young lady that is very attractive. That's their heroine in the game. Star Wars Outlaws is a flop. They're estimating net bookings at 30%.
Culture,
less.
remember, if you don't like it, don't play it. Oh, you don't think she's pretty? What's wrong with you? You're not a red-blooded male.
Well, I have to tell you that kind of rhetoric. The kind of rhetoric is what ends up with games dropping the net bookings of individual games. We're looking
you
at.
don't know what you're talking about. You
you
have no idea.
At least that's what I hear.
Wait, what?
Let's go! Jabba, right?
Oh no!
That's a Sarlacc!
Star Wars Outlaws pre-order available now.
Guys, this is one of, if not my most anticipated game of the year. Anything that's got me going pew, 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 sign me up.
I gotta say, the concept of this is enough for me to go, I might even pre-order this.
No, it went pew, 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 all right. Right into the stock.
Well, okay, but net bookings, less than 30%. They had to come out and say that to their investors today. They had to say, we're reducing our net bookings by 30% and we're moving a game. Yeah, they want you to believe that their net bookings are going to be less because they're moving the game. They are trying to obfuscate that their net bookings are going to be less because of just the one game, the Star Wars. And it would be far worse if they hadn't moved.
Culture, you don't read the right news. Crime is down and Star Wars Outlaws is a success.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to tell you right now.
I do like the double whammy here, though. Just to say that due to the lack of performance of Star Wars Outlaws, we're going to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows. They nuked both of them from a Wall Street standpoint in one single statement, right there. Like,
chance
what
that this
in
also
the world did you just do? They just opened opened up the whole world for Tencent to just take over.
Chance that this actually impacts Grand Theft Auto, the next one?
I've been saying, we've heard 3 different leaks that say that it's going to, and then multiple employees on the dev side saying it's not going to be delayed. It doesn't matter. It doesn't come out until fall of next year, regardless, at the earliest. But they have to pull back on the amount of woke garbage that they inserted into a game that does not tolerate any of that kind of stuff. The games themselves, Grand Theft Auto, have always been anti-establishment, walking on the side of crime and allowing you to be as irreverent as you want because the characters in it and the characters featured in it are as irreverent as you can imagine. So, if they move away from that formula and they Saints Row this will be the end of Grand Theft Auto.
Well, the gaming industry is real quick. The gaming industry is 13 times the size of film. Streaming doesn't make money, so who cares about it? But we've watched what this did to film and to streaming, that being wokeism. They cannot afford 13 times what we've watched happen to Star Wars, to Marvel, to Disney Animation. Anybody remember Batgirl? No, you don't, because it never came out. Lorn, your thought?
I'm going to tell you what all the studios are going to be looking at, especially after the last month. They're going to be seeing the performance and the profits, and they're going to start singing a different tune. And that's Space Marine 2.
Yep.
I guarantee you that is giving everybody a shot in the arm and recognizing that this is working and we can't hide it. We can't disparage it in such a way that anybody will take us seriously. That game is going to force change.
Very, very well said.
let's just arrive at the global revenue for 2022 alone. Global revenue for video games was estimated at $347 billion. And that is mobile gaming, driven primarily by women, at $248 billion of that total.
It's a lot. There's a lot at stake here.
Here's the thing: the entire gaming community, the entire gaming industry knows right now that the jig is up with all of this. They know that this is going to tank them. We've seen enough proof of this time and time again over the last year or two. The problem is they're in the same boat that Marvel's in right now. Concept creation, about even longer for video games than it is for TV shows or movies. They started working on projects 5 years ago that are still about to come out. 5 years ago, when everyone thought woke was the future, and now they're going to come out now, and they have to come out, and they're going to just get steamrolled. And so even if they decide today we're going to make this change, we're gonna shift our do what Marvel's doing. They fired all their activist producers, they brought the Russos back, they brought Robert Downey Jr. back. Well, guess what? They still have Captain America, Brave New World. They still have the Thunderbolts. They still have Ironheart. They still have all of these things coming out that are just going to piss people off more. And that's what the gaming community is going to experience. And I don't think a studio like Ubisoft can survive long enough to right the ship.
I don't think so either. I mean, we've been focusing on this on That Game Place channel that I am proud to have one of the best teams doing video game coverage ever. Marvin is part of that team.
Amen.
Yeah, Marvin is part of that team. Jonas is part of that team. We've got many other very talented individuals like Loki and Nolan and Space Dave and of course Spencer. We've got a group of people who understand video games. We even have guests that come on and do videos with us that are very well informed. Everybody we talk to is looking at this the same exact way now. Sometimes we disagree, sometimes we have a different take, but we're looking at the potential for just a hint of a game being woke to destroying the game's opportunity for the future. They have to pull back. Mm-hmm. They have to pull back. I mean, just a little hint, just a voice actress that they pulled in. That I'm not going to overreact to. None of the people on the team are overreacting to. But this
has been something we've all been talking about.
Yeah, and this is the ghost of. Please help me with that name. Yote. Excuse me. Yeah, because it is the successor to Ghost of Tsushima, and because of this activist voice actress. People are now taking a second look at this game and being very critical-eyed of it, and it may spoil this game especially if they lean into that kind of marketing, which they used to do.
I think that a lot of and I had a very knee-jerk reaction to it when we were watching the direct yesterday, because I looked at it and I saw they took Jin Sakai, this hero that I played in the first game and got attached to and wanted to continue his story, and they replaced him with a woman, and if it's a 3-minute trailer, they don't actually show you that it's a woman until 2 minutes and 30 seconds into it. They did it as a big reveal, as if holding for applause, and that's what you do when your entire game is based around the fact that this is a woman.
Well, I'm just amazed at the chasm. I'll tell you, if you just look at the difference in normal traditional entertainment versus when it is made through the woke lens. It is the difference in Inside Out 2 and Lightyear. It is the difference in Deadpool and Wolverine in the Marvels. It is the difference in, well, we haven't had a good Disney Plus Marvel show, so I can't really compare Agatha to anything. Isn't that a shame? But I think when you multiply that by 13, you find out why the people behind gaming are freaking out right now. And gaming may be the place where woke finally goes to utterly die in a way that's so public that even the journalists cannot deny it. Jonas, bring up the super chats.
All righty, let us read them. The first one we shall read is from Siani Reese for $5. I am a wine mom, and you couldn't pay me enough to watch this.
Well, you're the intended demo. Sorry, Marvel. You demoed the demo.
It's like how no women
John
went to go
Maynard.
see the Marvels.
I mean, how about what if you put a hot guy in there? I mean, I think that might actually get the wine moms actually interested.
Yes,
in
that
this
would
show.
have actually
I don't
made
know.
them. Yeah, they don't want to see themselves. They want to see hot dudes.
Well, what they didn't do is bring in one of the Chris's to come in and act a fool and just be sexy bod standing there. Like they
Or
did with,
you think about the appeal of Twilight. They're not really talking about Bella very much. They're talking about Edward and what's the other guy?
Edward.
I just
Jacob.
see myself in Bella. I just see myself in her. I feel seen. Like no, that's not the. It's I see myself in the sweat glistening off the six pack on the werewolf guy.
Yeah.
Culture.
Yeah, they all laugh at Renesmee, but they're laughing while they're staring at Taylor Lautner's abs. John Maynard.
Hold on, Lorn's got a thought.
$5.
Hold on. Lorn's got a thought on that. We got to get him in on that one.
Say what you said again, Culture.
Which part?
Oh, you know which part.
They haven't brought in the Chris's yet.
Oh,
yeah, they needed to bring in.
I thought we were
one
going
of the
back to
hot
vanilla
Chris's.
estrogen.
Yeah, remember they brought in the hot Chris's into Ghostbusters. You know the girl Ghostbusters. That's why they brought in the hot Chris, because there was nothing else attractive to look at on that screen.
Right, Culture.
Yeah,
there's still time.
That's true. We might get one of the Chris's.
Oh no.
They're desperate.
No.
Trust me. They're going to pull out every stop they can.
I don't know that they can afford to on this one. I think they want everybody to think they're going to do it, but they're not.
Have you seen the money they've been spending on things that aren't working? We just talked about this last night.
That's right.
They're swimming in caviar at the catering sessions.
Yep. John Maynard for 5, with Jonas giving the high scores. I mean, it's a 5.5. I mean, I guess that's technically high. It feels like he's attempting to get early access cupcakes. He should have gone into Wilton's canon.
Oh, no.
Go fund yourself, Bob.
Jonas, they're calling you the worst thing that can happen on the show. They're claiming your access media.
Oh, no.
Well, the only access I have is my brother-in-law's Disney Plus account. Buster Peak for $2. Angry Joe took over Jonas's live feed. Is that guy still going?
You know that I actually
Dan's
have not
Life
heard
Kingdom.
about Angry Joe in a while. Does he still do like? Is he still? I
think
really
he's
don't know
well.
the answer to that.
I think. I think he's
about
been
2 years ago. I stopped hearing anything about him.
Yeah. Dan's Life at the Kingdom for $1.99. Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster got censored. I hear that's true. Well, they also they do a streamer mode to take out all the gore if you want to stream it online as well, but that's optional. They also, I think, censored some of the girly costumes. So
You ever
Too
feel
Tired
like-
for 5.
You ever feel like the synopsis for these shows is grossly inaccurate?
Yes.
Always.
What's the
'Cause
synopsis on this one?
That this show is focused on Catherine Hahn's character Agatha. Has anybody noticed a particular focus on her character? You feel
Well,
like you know
in a
more
way,
about
that's how
her?
you preserve the character. I mean, from a writing standpoint, if you have a main character and you don't know what to do with them, you put all the action with the other characters and then they wander around. It's like in the Pirates movies, how they didn't realize that Jack Sparrow was not the main character of the first movie, and then they made him the main character of everything going forward, and it ruined the character. So this is a mistake in writing when you don't know who your focus character is supposed to be.
By focusing on Rey, eventually Rey Skywalker, which still makes me want to hurl, they ruined her character.
We did get a focus on Agatha in the first episode.
Did we?
I think you saw pretty much everything.
Wow. Okay. Old lady
Too
Buck
Tired
is
for
not
$5.
something-
Swole is unplayable, just as Agatha is unwatchable. I have said major devs need to go under for things to change back for better. Let heads roll. We mean this in the non-literal sense here, of course.
It's a typical idiom that means to let people be terminated from their jobs or move to a different position.
Yeah, I would say that Star Wars Outlaws has the amazing achievement of being a video game I do not want to play. So,
yeah,
which by the way
Sienna
is
Reese-
difficult to do because letting people in the sandbox of Star Wars should be under any logical time frame, that should be enticing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be a glutton for it, and I'll go back and play the Nintendo version of Star Wars, where Darth Vader turns into a scorpion for some reason. Siani Reese for $5. As a writer, I am more for the story than hot guys, though I wouldn't argue about the hot guy. If it had the story, I think we'd all forgive it.
Ron, I know why some of the folks out there are here.
What?
It's you, buddy. It's you. Sorry, Lorn.
Oh.
Official D-Rex.
That's why we put you in the top middle, Ron. Hot guy status.
Oh, God. No, dear Lord, not me.
Sorry, Jonas. I was waiting for Ron to get it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's okay.
Please,
that's okay. I was.
I'm tired, guy.
By the way, D-Rex, I've got your tweet here, and I see what you're saying. I'm gonna read from it. Official D-Rex for $2. Uber is trying to pull a Disney Plus terms of service baloney sausage here. So Disney claimed a man signed his life away when he got a trial of Disney Plus. Uber is trying the same thing. A kid placed an order on Uber Eats, and now a judge is saying the parents can't sue Uber over a car crash. The headline from Bloomberg Law is Kids Uber Eats delivery sends parents into infinite arbitration. We're going to need to look into that one.
They should call Murdoch, Nelson and Murdoch.
As long as he wasn't driving. Bonesaw is ready for 10. One thing about Space Marine 2, that story is a 6 out of 10 compared to the best Space Marine stories in that universe. Hell's Reach, Lucas the Trickster. The potential there is massive if GW Games Workshop doesn't foul it up. Yeah.
Well, let's hope they can get it right, because gaming needs those wins right now. Definitely.
It looks fun. Jack Straw from Wichita for $2. Man, we should have gate-kept everything. Yeah, gatekeeping would have been the right choice, especially with Star Wars.
Yeah, well,
there are more of us.
Yeah, well, and that is what, by the way, the industry is learning. Folks, you came here for Agatha. We threw in some Ubisoft additionally, but it's because there's a unifying factor here, and that is clearly there's a chasm that exists between when you go woke and when you don't. You make a lot of money when you just do what worked for decades. And this new quasi-religious belief system that is wokeism, this anti-meritocratic kind of thing, it does not sing to audiences. Sorry if you enjoyed the song, Lorn. All right, guys, let's go around the horn and tell the folks out there what you're up to and where they can find you, starting with Culture.
Well, I'm up to my normal tricks. I have a channel called Culture Casino. It's really tough to find. Culture Casino on YouTube, Aussie Mindsgetter, X, and Rumble. Did I say Rumble already? Anyway, you can definitely find me in those places. You can find me on That Game Place, which I'm proud to run with a great team of people talking about video games in a way that, well, is believable and straightforward and truthful, and it's actually news. You're not going to get a lot of urinalism on our game journalism. Nope. We also have, videos that I do every single day amongst many much live streams. And apparently I'm a permanent co-host on the WDW Pro Show on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the very near future. Am I allowed to say that? No?
I think it's fine to say you're a regular, and the Pro Show will be twice a week now, Tuesdays and Thursdays, noon to 2:30 p.m. Eastern, because, folks, we found out you want more of us, and we're happy to give it to you. Ron.
So follow the Bradley's Fun YouTube channel, 9:30 daily. We like to dish on pop culture and mostly theme park stuff. And over the next couple days, we will obviously be covering the hurricane that is happening here in Florida. You might find me doing lives on TikTok, depending on the weather. I will likely be going live just to cover what is happening in Orlando. Literally, me getting hit with a hurricane over the next couple days.
Clearly, Ron, you did not get my memo. You didn't get my memo.
What happened?
I've got us a room at the Contemporary. We're going to put you out on the balcony overlooking Magic Kingdom, and I'm bringing a huge fan and we are just going to make it look like you're about to be blown off the balcony by a Cat 5.
So he's Jim Cacciatore or whatever that
Yes,
guy's name
yes,
is?
the Weather Channel Ron. That's what we're doing.
Okay, all right.
The views will be tremendous.
I wanted to say, if I could, real quick, I was curious about that last scene in this last episode, if that was some type of them trying to work in Tiana's Bayou Adventure, how they all kind of looked like they went down Splash Mountain at the end.
Well, and one person died from it, so yeah, it's perfect.
Although one person died, so that works out.
Probably from boredom. She probably was just so bored of the show, she had to X out of there.
I have a Marvel Halloween watch that I think is good, and that's Werewolf by Night. So if if people haven't seen that, it's a lot better than this. So and it's out there. But there was never any word of mouth around it. I was really surprised after I did see it. I was like, okay, this was surprising, but whatever.
I still say if you're trying to get your yes, and people are huge fans of you, Ron. Happy that you were able to join us. And folks, if you want to get that serious and unbiased response in regards to what you should do on your vacation at the theme parks, Ron is where you go.
Yep.
Jonas, you're up, sir. Too late, Ron. You lose. Drink your water bottle.
I think I'm going to go.
Ahead,
I didn't
Jonas.
even start, and you interrupted me on that one.
Ron was doing a Marco Rubio, and we handed it to you. Go ahead.
You kind of fascinated with Ron tonight, huh? Anyways, I think I'm just going to go to Dollywood for the next few days. It's my happy place. Going to get myself some cinnamon bread. I'll see you guys over there. Oh, by the way, we're going to be talking about the canceled Disney animated film that Moana 2 usurped because, maybe it had something to do with a certain nation fighting another nation. And Disney maybe ran away from that one. And also the layoffs that are going on at Disney right now. Yes, another 300 people have been let go. Not happy about the layoffs, but Bob Iger's got to do something to jazz that stock price. So we'll be talking about all of that over on That Park Place Live tomorrow. And you're going to want to stay tuned there because we still haven't announced what's going on with That Park Place, even though the Pro Show will be taking that slot in the 1st of November. Remember the 1st of
Big announcements coming for That Park Place Live as well. Lorn, where are you on this great, big, beautiful web?
You can find me at Lorn Connor on X or Twitter and Lorn Connor 9030 on YouTube. I appear on your streams and on the Genre Guys with Lou Wasserman's Ghost and Hangry Table. You throw a rock, you'll find me somewhere.
Well, we're throwing rocks and we're hitting Marvin. Marvin, what do you got?
Oh, so Tooneytown TV, we've got Toonie Talk TV tomorrow night, a live stream pop culture podcast, 8 p.m. That is going to be contingent on whether or not I have, power or because I'm down in Florida right now. So we'll see how the hurricane goes tomorrow, but we are currently scheduled to go live tomorrow at 8 p.m. We're going to be talking the Acolyte budget. We're going to be talking about Agatha. We're going to be talking about the Penguin. Lorn usually pops in on that show as well. He's one of my regular panelists, and we love having him there.
Lorn, you cheated on us. I can't believe you.
So check it out tomorrow night, 8 p.m. And check Tooneytown TV and Tooneytown Wrestling. We just had a 5K celebration last night, and it went very, very well. So very happy about that.
Jonas, read us one more on our way out the door.
Official D-Rags for $2. The Diddy coverage is more entertaining than Disney.
I haven't decided, by the way, if we can cover this or if YouTube will destroy us for trying it.
Wait, what did Diddy Kong do now?
What did I buy all this baby oil for then?
Heard he was riding a rhino, Marvin.
Oh, man. The next Donkey Kong country is going to be lit.
Yeah, that rhino is going to be shiny, let me tell you. All right, folks. That's the way to end this one. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week and every Wednesday all the way until Halloween, suffering and agonizing through as we suspect one character will die with every single episode. That's what we believe. And our souls will slowly die as well as we make our way through what is, not a good Marvel show at all. Thanks to all of our panelists, folks. We'll see you real soon. Thrice is nice. 3 videos a day right here on the Pro Channel. 10:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We'll see you again with more content you just can't believe. Until then, we'll see you soon. keep learning, keep growing, keep having fun. It's time for the outro. The mainstream media just can't understand how it is we continue to do what we do. They don't realize that we are powered by you, and you are
1.21 gigawatts! 1.21 gigawatts!
Folks, we've still got decades and decades left in the can. It drives the mainstream mad.
Would it make you feel any better if you knew that what we're asking Matt here to do is a holy thing?
You see, we're on a mission from God. We're on a mission from God.
Now you're gonna put me right back in the joint.
They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
So, folks, as we always say as we end each and every show here, and we mean it, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Every time they hit him, he stood back up again. So they hit him harder. Still, he got back to his feet. Standing man.